Hey everybody, today we're going to show you how to make a dual screen gaming video using Filmora 11, just like the one you see here.
We'll break it down into 5 easy steps. Step 1, record 2 video files and import them into Filmora.
Step 2, apply borders and badges, export, delete, and repeat.
Step 3, layer and format your videos on the timeline.
Step 4, cut, flip, and transition.
And to wrap it all up, step 5, picking your identifying texts.
So without further ado guys, on to step 1. Alright guys, so you've recorded your 2 video files and you're ready to put them together. Congratulations. First things first, we're going to go to our Wondershare Filmora 11 application. And right on top, we're going to start by selecting the project aspect ratio. This is useful for selecting different formats to upload to different platforms. We're going to use 16:9 for YouTube. Afterward, immediately we're going to click New Project.
Now we're going to go to Import. Here you can import visual and audible content for use in this project. So we're going to import our 2 video files now.
So now that we have our 2 videos imported, select the video that you want to be full screen first. The first video you want to be the full screen one. We separated them and named them player 1 and player 2 to make it easier for us later. This is the one with our face cam, so we know we want that to be full screen. And by clicking this plus sign, it adds it directly to the timeline to do that. And right after we do that, we are going to save this project. And we're going to name it Dual Screen 1. Save.
Now we're going to apply a border and name badge to the video to help better distinguish it between both players and both screens. So you're going to go to Effects, Utility, and then select border. Now that you've selected the border, you're going to drag the border on the timeline below on the track above the video that you want the border to be applied to. And then you're going to adjust the border for the length of the video. I just zoomed out so I can see the whole video on the timeline, and now we're going to adjust it. There we go.
We can design the border that we want by double-clicking this border in our timeline, which will open up its advanced features, and now we can adjust its size, blur, opacity, even what colors we want it to be. I usually go for this, and she will pick something else, but I think that looks pretty good. I want it to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Look at that. What a god I am, in charge of my own fate.
So now that we've applied the border, we're also going to apply a name badge to help differentiate between the videos even further. So we're going to go to Titles, and here you can select from a range of different titles, subtitles. There's a ton of assortment here. What we originally used, we used the basic text. And later on, you'll see in a few minutes, we winded up saving a custom text. So we're just gonna go, and just like we added the border, we're going to drag it onto the track above. And we're going to stretch it for the duration of the video, which is how long we want it for, and just place it where we want. If you double click on either here or directly on the screen, you get to move the border, adjust the size of it, what you would like the border to say, and change the different colors, word arts to it. You can even add animation, how you want the border to come in. Here we're going to do no animation, and I think we're good.
So now that we have the name badge and the border applied to the video, we're going to click export. Now the reason we do this is to mash up all the work that we did down here so it doesn't take up so much running application memory while we're working on this project. So the first thing we're going to look at is our format. YouTube takes MP4, so we're going to click that. You could choose whatever you want. We also have different devices you can export to, or directly to YouTube, Vimeo, or DVD. Now you get to choose your export settings here, but we already have one created. Going to select that, going to name this as a new export. Okay, and we are going to export this.
So now that we've successfully exported our first video, we are going to border and badge our second video.
To do this, we are going to delete the first video off of the timeline. We're going to leave our border and text there. And we're going to add the second video to the timeline. Now we did make a cut earlier just to cut it down to size. We're going to redo that. I select down the timeline. So now this is going to be our second video. So now we are going to edit this just like we did last time. And we're going to choose our identifying colors. Now as for the text, just like we did last time, we're just going to replace this text with another custom that we have. And we're just going to use our arrow keys and go up. Just to center it, and we're going to name this 32. Who would have known? Once we have our border and badge on our second video, we can export just like we did to the first. We're going to name this Dual Screen 2 and export. So we just successfully exported our second video. So now what we're going to do is click our timeline and select everything on the timeline, however you do it, depending on what you are using, and we're going to go back to import and now go to the folder that your videos exported to, output. So here's our two files that we did. I'm going to click open, and we're going to delete the last two that we had. So now that we have these two, we're going to add our first one back into the timeline.
So now that you've added your first video to the timeline, you're going to add your second video. So by doing this, you're going to click on the track that you want to select it. Then you're going to add the video by hitting the plus sign. We're going to just cut the video down and get rid of that. And then we're going to format it like so. Once you've formatted the videos to size, then you're going to select the top video. Since that's one you're going to see, you're going to double click, and then you are going to change the scale so it can be exposed on the main video. As you can see, now you can see both of our screens on one screen.
So once you have your two videos on top of each other, what we have to do now is match up the audio. Now, we've already done this off camera, but I'll show you guys how to do it. So let's just say that it was like this. Let's listen to this for a moment. You see that? So one video started talking, the next video started talking a couple seconds later. This is what's going to help us. Just listen to an audio cue, the words, the sentence, the dialogue from one video, and just match it up to the other. It's as simple as that. So we know in one of our videos, it starts off by saying Arc Fear Evolved 6, right? And that's over here. So that's Fear Evolved. So that's on our bottom video. So on the top video, let's wait for it to say Fear Evolved 6. An easy way to do this is on the side of the timeline. You can hide one of the tracks, which will nullify the audio from it as well, and you'll only hear the track that's not hidden. So there's that Arc Fear Evolved 6. And this is where we're saying fear already. So we're going to go. So that's the fear. So we're going to drag the fear over on top of this fear. Okay, so as you can hear, they're perfectly layered and they look very, very similar. You can see similarities in the dips. So once you have them perfectly layered, you're going to mute the one that's on the top because we don't need that audio anymore. It's shared. And there you go.
So now it's time to add cuts, flips, and transitions to our dual screen video. So first we're going to start by going to a point where we want the screens to switch. So I'm going to go here to about the 2-minute mark. And I'm going to select both videos. And I'm going to make a cut. So we're going to move both of the videos up one and drag the top video down. So now we have both videos switched. Now to expose the second video, we're going to have to change the size. So we're going to double click on the top video, change the scaling to your desired size, and then you're going to go to your second video and you're going to rescale that one so it could now become full screen. And just adjust to your pleasing, like that. So now you're going to add a transition to your video by selecting the transitions tab up top. There's a ton of different transitions to choose from, but here we're going to keep it basic and we're going to use the cube transition. So you're going to click it and you're going to drag and drop it to your video. One on the first one and one for the second one. And then you can watch your dual screen switch.
Repeat that process for the remainder of your video. When you're done with that, it's on to step 5. To wrap it all up, it's time to choose our identifying text. We can do this by selecting the titles tab and choosing one of our texts that we've either already created or they have here provided for us. Choose a place in your video where you want to add text coming from your partner or coming from yourself. So we chose this area here where I'm attempting to ride this Goliath of a prehistoric fish and she's watching me from the dock. So let's hear this really quickly.
I get so scared of the water, yo.
So you could swim underwater with him, right?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to where I said I get so scared in the water. I'm going to choose my text and drop it on the timeline right where my marker is. I'm going to write what my words were. So since we can only fit so many words on the screen at once, we're going to pay attention to our audio, visual audio cues that we can see down here in the timeline, the peaks in the audio. So I want the words to appear when I say I get so scared in the water, yo.
I get so scared of the water, yo.
So we know that's right here. So I'm going to flush with that. And all I can fit is I get so scared. So I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. And I'm going to listen for I get so scared. And I'm going to pause at the end of that word.
I get so scared.
That was the end of I get so scared. Here I'm going to cut. And I'm going to double click this. And I'm just going to change this text into in what I couldn't fit. Let's listen for when in the water yo ends. That's when it ends. You can see it ending by trailing off here. We're going to cut the rest. And it should flow nicely.
I get so scared of the water, yo.
Now just repeat the process for your partner using your partner's, you guessed it, text.
So we finished putting text in the rest of the segment. So let's take a look and see what we have.
I get so scared of the water, yo.
So you
awesome. Good job. Good job. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that came out super awesome.
Super awesome, guys. So that's it, guys. That's how you create a dual screen gaming video
Using Wondershare Filmora 11.
in 5 easy steps. Thank you for watching, guys.
Have a good one.